Hello everyone! Last year, my first tutorial for Frighttober was how to make demon eyes in Photoshop. This time around, I'll be taking what I did there and showing you how to animate it in After Effects. Starting right off, we'll need to bring our footage into an After Effects comp, whether you shot it with a camera, grabbed it from a stock site, or, as in my case, made it with a 3D program for demonstration purposes. Though you can just do this right in the 3D programs if that is the case, but again, demonstration purposes. Either way, we'll be adding a black fill layer, either by going up through the Layer New menu, right-clicking in the timeline, or typing Command or Control Y. It'll be black for me, but you can use whatever color you want your eyes to be for other effects too. So we can work with our fill layer over the footage, we'll then go down to the timeline, click on the fill layer, and hit T. Then drag the number next to your opacity down until you think you can see through it well enough. Now we go zoom in on the eyes and use the pen tool to make a mask around the fill layer. We'll want to get as close to the edges and curves of the eye as we can. If you've never used the pen tool before, you can click anywhere to make points. Clicking and dragging will make your line curved instead of straight, and you can hold down Option or Alt and click and drag those handles that show up to change how the curve moves. There's a bit more to that tool, but for this, that's all you're really going to need. We'll need to do this for the other eye too, so another fill layer, another mask, and there we go. If you're working with real footage, you also probably don't want hard edges, which will end up looking like you just have a jagged colored line. To fix that, we can unroll our layer, unroll the mask properties, and drag our mask feather to the right. This will soften the edges, letting it blend into the eye. So we've now got our black eyes, which are floating there, not doing anything while your footage is moving. We should probably fix that. So for the next part, we'll need two null objects for our eyes. We can, again, make these with the Layer New menu, right-clicking in the timeline, or by typing Option-Shift-Command-Y on a Mac, or Control-Alt-Shift-Y on a PC. We're gonna need to do some motion tracking on our eyes. We'll want to edit the target and make sure we're applying the tracking to our nulls, which will animate their positions to match your tracking. Once we have the eyes all tracked and ready to go, head back in the timeline to when your black fills and eyes are exactly matched. Then parent the fills to your nulls. The eyes will now move with your footage. We're almost there. Our last step for the eyes themselves will be adjusting the eyes for blinking. To make the eyes move to the blinks, we'll need to hit the stopwatch on our mask path, again under the mask properties. Then we'll go through the video and move the anchor points for the mask to match any blinking that shows up. That might take a while depending on how long your footage is. We now have our demon eyes though. Pretty cool, at least I think so. But what if you want your character to start off seeming normal and then giving them the effect? First we'll make it expand. With mask expansion, the higher the number is, the further out from the edge of your mask your layer will be hidden. And more importantly for this, if you drag it into the negatives, or to the left, the mask will shrink using your mask's path. To make our eyes expand, we'll start the expansion way in the negatives and hit the stopwatch. Then, move forward in the timeline a few frames and change the expansion back to 0. Your demon effect will now look like it's spreading through the character's eyes. We can add even more to this by keyframing the layer's opacities, making the effect fade in. And now you have a supernatural style demon eye effect. But it's still not done, at least for me. Next comes giving my character some bruises around the eyes. This is mostly because I can and it looks cool, but it's also because the blue and purple colors of bruising, in an image where there isn't any of that color anywhere else, can and usually will draw the audience right into the eyes. First, to do this, we'll need to duplicate our eye fill layers. With our duplicated layers selected, we can go into the fill settings, either up under the Layer menu and clicking Solid Settings, or by typing Command or Control-Shift-Y. This opens up the same window we used to make these layers in the first place, and at the bottom we can change the color. When we hit OK, the layer will now be that color. I'm going with blues and purples, which will come in a few steps. Now, we have differently colored eyes. Not exactly what I'm going for, so I'll go down into the mask settings for the bruise layers and invert the masks. And now everything in the entire image except the eyes is that color. But if you'll notice, our masks have the word add next to them, which we can use to fix this issue. I'll need to drag circles around where I want the bruises on the face first though. Again, drop the opacity if you need to see. When we have the bruises where we want them on the character, we'll go back to where they all say add. On our circles we just made, we'll change this to intersect, which will hide everything that isn't overlapped by the two masks. And to make it so our eyes are knocked out of this, instead of hiding everything else, we'll also change the original masks to subtract. This will cut the eyes out from our circles, leaving just the bruises. Then we can change our blending modes and opacities for them. I went with overlay, but playing with it can get some different results. And the opacity will depend on what you're going for and how dark you want these bruises to be. Just like with the eyes, we can also change up the mask feather and expansion for our bruises to get better blending and varied amounts of damage. And because bruises don't tend to be uniform, we can also make more duplicates of our bruise layers and change their colors to different shades of red, purple, black, green, yellow, depending on how fresh and painful you want them to be. You can also change their own mask settings and opacities so the colors are closer or further from the eyes. And playing it all through, we now should have demon eyes and bruises that follow along with our character's movements. Because it's me and I love color grading, I'll add that as a final step of the whole project and render things out. We've now got our demon eye effect, and hopefully I've gone over it in a way that makes it a bit different from other videos on doing this effect. And that was demon eyes on your footage. I hope everyone's learned something and had fun doing it. If you have any questions, thoughts, or other feedback, you can let me know with a comment below, or with a message to @ET_studios on Twitter. You can also like this video and share it around, I'd appreciate the help getting the word out. And I'm planning to be back here every Friday, so be sure to subscribe for more awesome content. Have a great day, everyone.